the Circuit of the Americas delivered an electrifying race, featuring intense battles across the grid. Even the race's eventual winner, Max Verstappen, faced a stiff challenge. However, the post-race excitement was marred by the disqualification of two prominent drivers, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, who had fought hard for their points. Of the two, Hamilton's disqualification appeared to be the more contentious incident. The controversy was amplified by the recent upgrade of Mercedes' Flawed, giving rise to rumors of foul play. This raised questions about whether Mercedes had attempted to gain an unfair advantage with their new Flawed during the Aston Grand Prix. Following a post-race inspection, both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc were summoned to face the Formula One stewards at the United States Grand Prix, ultimately resulting in their disqualification from the race. Initially, Hamilton had secured a second-place finish behind race victor Max Verstappen, while pole-sitter Charles Leclerc finished sixth after employing a one-stop strategy. The catalyst for their disqualification was a revelation by FIA technical delegate Joe Bauer, who identified that the skids on the underside of their cars did not meet the technical standards. The stewards' rulings, which confirmed penalties for both Hamilton and Leclerc, were based on a mutual agreement between Mercedes and Ferrari that the measurement findings were accurate. Both teams argued that the excessive wear on the skid pads was likely due to the unique combination of the bumpy track and the shortened sprint race schedule, which limited the time for car setup and inspection before the race. However, not everyone was convinced by Mercedes' explanation, particularly given their recent floor upgrade, which suspiciously failed to meet standards after the race. The stewards emphasized that it was the responsibility of teams to ensure compliance with technical regulations at all times. During an event disqualification, the standard penalty for breaching technical regulations, was enforced because both cars' planks exceeded the threshold specified in Article 3.5.9e of the regulations, including a tolerance for wear. According to FIA Technical Director Joe Bauer, the thickness of the plank assembly, measured perpendicular to the lower surface, should be 10 mm, with an acceptable range of plus or minus 0.2 mm, and it must remain uniform when new. The rule allows for a minimum thickness of 9 mm due to wear, and conformity to this provision is checked at the periphery of designated holes. Hamilton's disqualification resulted in Lando Norris moving up to second place in the race, while Carlos Sainz claimed third place. Sergio Perez ascended to fourth position, followed by George Russell, who advanced from seventh to fifth. Perez's prospects of finishing second in the 2023 F1 Drivers' Championship improved significantly due to Hamilton's disqualification. Instead of facing a 19-point deficit, he now leads the Mercedes driver by 39 points, with 4 races remaining. The disqualifications also doubled Pierre Gasly's point total, awarding him 8 points for sixth place, surpassing Lance Stroll, who achieved his best result since finishing sixth in the Spanish GP in early June. Yuki Tsunoda moved up to 8th place, earning 5 points for the fastest lap on the penultimate lap. This development doubled AlphaTauri's 2023 points tally, bringing them within 2 points of 9th place Haas in the Constructors' Championship. Williams also celebrated their first double points finish since 2021, with Alex Albon securing 9th place and Logan Sargent finishing 10th, marking his first F1 points finish. In hindsight, many anticipated this outcome when FIA's F1 technical delegate Joe Bauer reported the non-compliance of Hamilton and Charles Leclerc's cars to the United States Grand Prix stewards following an assessment of the floor and plank wear. This disqualification significantly reshuffled the race order and had substantial implications for both championship standings. However, the FIA's rapid decision raised several questions. What specific rule did the drivers violate, and were other drivers subjected to similar inspections? Was the unique sprint format this weekend a contributing factor to Mercedes and Ferrari's compliance issues? Moreover, did Mercedes employ any form of cheating by introducing the new floor? Additionally, could George Russell potentially face repercussions in light of this controversy? Mercedes and Ferrari were found to violate F1 Technical Regulations Article 3.5.9. Although the rule appears straightforward, it raises the question of whether other drivers may have encountered similar issues. The FIA conducted floor and plank wear checks on 4 cars in Austin, with only Leclerc and Hamilton's vehicles found to be in breach of the regulations. The McLaren of Lando Norris and the Red Bull of the race winner, Max Verstappen, were also subjected to inspection. One may wonder why only 4 cars were selected for inspection during a weekend marked by frequent bottoming out incidents. The FIA conducts thorough legality checks during post-race scrutineering, but it is impractical to scrutinize every component of every car. Therefore, 4 cars, each representing one of the top 4 teams, were chosen for inspection. The FIA issued an extensive post-race scrutineering checklist, which expanded to 4 pages after the United States Grand Prix. There are no protocols in place for inspecting cars from the same team if a violation is detected. This aspect may have safeguarded George Russell's race result, as had the flaw been deemed illegal, they might have addressed it before the Mexican Grand Prix. The question of why a team would employ an illegal flaw, or one with such a low ride height, arises. Does it significantly impact performance on a circuit like this? To answer this, the available race data does not provide a clear answer, as numerous variables come into play. A lower ride height can potentially make the ground effect flaw work harder, generating increased downforce. However, on a rough track, specific sections of the circuit or contact with curbs could contribute to excessive wear on the floor. Moreover, running the car too low and scraping the ground could have adverse effects. So, while one could argue various points regarding performance gains or losses, there is no definitive conclusion, at least for now. There is no evidence to suggest that Mercedes or Ferrari deliberately operated at a ride height that would have altered their performance. Teams are particularly cautious about plank wear since it almost always leads to automatic disqualification, so risking it for a performance advantage would be irrational. The primary question following this weekend is whether Mercedes cheated with their new upgrades and if this upgrade led to their disqualification due to running too low. While the upgrade may have influenced the operation of the ground floor, it seems unlikely to be the sole cause of the disqualification. The lack of setup time may have been a contributing factor, but considering that Ferrari also encountered issues without any car upgrades, it's more probable that external factors played a significant role in the increased wear, rather than a specific modification on the Mercedes. Given that the FIA has not released any information regarding Mercedes operating with an illegal flaw, after inspecting Hamilton's car, it is reasonable to assume that their flaw complies with the regulations, and the disqualification resulted from a combination of factors working against their car. The question of how 2 of the top teams had one car disqualified, and whether the rules could have led to the disqualification of their second car if not for certain regulations, can be addressed. In a typical race weekend with 3 free practice sessions, neither Mercedes nor Ferrari would have been caught off guard. Mercedes was particularly certain that this was the issue in their case. Setup decisions on a sprint weekend are always challenging, with only 1 hour of free practice, and this is exacerbated on a bumpy circuit like Circuit of the Americas, especially when running a new package, according to team boss Toto Wolff. Ultimately, external factors played a role, but in the end, the rules offered no room for leniency. Andrew Shovlin, the trackside engineering director, noted that one of the drawbacks of the sprint format is that there is only 1 practice session instead of 3, and the setup is locked in after entering Parc Ferme during Friday afternoon qualifying. This means any further adjustments would necessitate starting from the pit lane. Therefore, on Friday, both Ferrari and Mercedes were essentially committed to their decisions. During the hearing, both teams acknowledged that the FIA's technical teams had accurately measured the components. They argued that the unusual combination of a bumpy track and the condensed schedule of a sprint weekend contributed to the excessive wear on the skid pads. The steward's verdict for both Hamilton and Leclerc reflected this explanation. In the end, it seemed to be a stroke of bad luck for both drivers and a fortunate twist for their counterparts, as the rules spared their cars from inspection as well. We invite you to share your thoughts on the weekend. Did you enjoy the race? What are your opinions on the Mercedes rumors? Do you believe they could be cheating? I'm eager to hear your thoughts and perspectives. Please share them in the comments section below. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel for notifications on our future uploads, ensuring you stay informed about the developments in the 2023 Formula One season.